Greetings and blessings. Welcome to this space. Today I feel very called to share some thoughts regarding co-regulation, big emotions, trauma healing, and really just doing better for our children than was done unto us as children. So my partner and I had an experience early today where we were trying to do a devotional group over Zoom, and the children were being kids, very, big emotions, expressing themselves, loud, and my partner was letting me do the Zoom call more, giving me that space. I'm very grateful for that. And he was struggling with the children because he wanted to listen as well. And so I tried to drop in for a second and remind him, hey, our older son is feeling really upset about this one thing. Can you just pick him up, show him some love, tell him, I got you. It's okay to feel this way. I hear you're upset, blah, blah, blah. And my partner tried doing that. Didn't work. Whatever. We move on. Life goes on, right? Everything's okay. So we're in the car doing some things, and our children fall asleep, and we start talking about this situation. And he tells me that he felt like he doesn't want to coddle our children. He feels like it's not his job as the man, as the husband, as the father, to coddle them. And I start going off on this tangent that I'm about to go off on camera because it feels really important. And so what I began telling him is, from my perspective, what I see in those moments, and I'm not perfect, I don't do it right every single time. It is so much easier to have the hindsight, to have the reflection, or to have the intention before all the big emotions start bubbling over, right? Before you're in the storm. It's so much easier, right, to talk about it and how you're going to respond. But what I told him is that what I see is some childhood trauma coming up for both of us around big emotions, around big feelings, around negative feelings. And that we need to look inside and reflect on how were we treated as children when we had big emotions, and what stories did the way we were treated unfold, and how do we keep unfolding them today. So for my partner, I witness him and his parents, and I notice that they don't like any big emotions, any negative anything. They move on, they shut it down, they don't want it around. It's too much. It is hard. And so for him, I notice his response to stress is not good. Not that he explodes or reacts, but he doesn't process it well, like so many of us, because he as a child most likely would have a big emotion and it was shh, 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 shh. Here's a distraction, go away, or something like that. Oh, it's okay, don't be upset. And so now with my own children, I find that in those moments when they're having a big emotion, it is less about them and whatever emotion it is, and more about us as parents on how are we responding? What lessons are we teaching them about these big emotions? Are we teaching them how to co-regulate? Are we sitting there with them, holding space with them, showing them it's okay to feel this way? It's not going to kill you. It's hard, but you know what? I'm here. I'm strong. I'm steadfast. I'm not going to let you go through it alone. We will get through it together, and we will get on the other side, and it'll all be okay. Or are we teaching them that bad things are to be avoided, that any emotion that's not good is not okay and not good, and to ignore it, shut it down, distract, blah, blah, blah? Are we teaching them that? I think a lot of us do. And I think a lot of us have that inside of us where we don't want to cry, we don't want to express a negative emotion, or even tell someone how we feel or what we think if it might be disruptive in any way. Because we're taught that as children. We're taught, don't be disruptive, don't have a big emotion, or your big emotion is too big for me to handle as an adult. I'm upset, you've made me upset, which is a whole other thing, right? Because it's we need to look inside and think, why am I being triggered by my child's big emotion? Why is that triggering me? Why do I then start coming up with all these stories and all these emotions? We need to tap into that and recognize that our children don't know what their emotions are. They don't, they have them, they feel them, they're very good at feeling and expressing, but they don't have words for it, they don't have names for it, and they don't know that it won't last forever. They don't know that it's okay to feel that way. It's really hard. It can be really scary. I remember as a little girl having big emotions. No one was there for me during them, right? And it felt like it was gonna go on forever. It felt like I was dying. It was so scary, so hard. And so if we can reflect on those things, reflect on how we were responded to as children in order to not do the same to ours, so that we can approach our children in a different way. We can approach it in a way of, not only compassion and understanding, but also showing them that I love you no matter what. And I will always be here for you through your big emotions. And it's not going to change the way I feel about you. It's not going to change the way I treat you. It's not going to change the way I think about you. I am here for you always. And I'm here to help you, help guide you through these emotions, to show you, you know what, you're having this big emotion. I'm going to hold space for you to have it. Go, do it. Express your big emotion, feel it. I am here with you, breathing deeply, showing you how to regulate yourself through modeling regulation myself. Because in these moments, I might be feeling flustered when my child gets all, wild, brings up stuff for me. But the best thing I can do in that moment is to sit and breathe and to hold space, and to maybe, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything. But sometimes I might say, I'm here with you. I hear you. You are so upset about this thing. I see you. I love you. I will not let you go through this alone. I am here with you. Hold them, or just sit with them. Allow it to happen. And then when it's done, because it'll end, it always ends. It doesn't go on forever. It always ends. Like a wave, it comes and it goes, right? It comes, it crests, and then it falls back into the ocean. And then after, when the emotion is dissolved, you say, you just went through a huge emotion. Wow, that must have felt really hard. I see in that moment you felt scared, sad, hurt, angry, whatever it is. And you got through it. You did it. And I'm here with you. Let's breathe together. I love you. Imagine responding in that way instead of, be quiet, stop, you're making me angry. Or here's this distraction. Here's a toy, here's food. Oh, look at this thing, blah, 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 blah. Instead of allowing to feel. Because when you start to try to feel better or feel good, that is literally taking you away from your emotion. You will never grow. You will never learn. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It is okay to experience discomfort. We literally need to grow, to progress, to know what feels good. It's okay to feel good too. It's great. Feel good. I want to feel good. But I don't want to run away from not feeling good, because that is telling me something. I don't want to teach my children to run away from not feeling good. And obviously there's nuance, right? Like if something is literally hurting your physical body, stop it. But if you're having a big emotion, that's telling you something. Dive into it. Allow it. Where do you feel it? I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my throat. I feel it in my arms. I feel it in my toes. I feel it outside of my body. I mean, those can come later, right? But it's this idea of co-regulating with your children, allowing the big emotions, reflecting on myself. Why do I feel so triggered by their big emotion? Why? Is it trauma from my past? What stories do I have about big emotions? I think in the Western world especially, like we really, quiet. Don't say that. Don't be disruptive. Don't have a different opinion. Don't have a big emotion. Why are you crying? Why are you angry? Like, we don't acknowledge that these things are sacred teachers, really. And we don't do that luxury for our children. So this is the conversation I had with my partner, and he was on board. And I was like, hey, just because my version of co-regulating and helping our children through big emotions in those moments is more, come baby, mama's here. I hear you. Tell me all about it. That sounds really hard. I'm here with you. Let's feel it together. I'm not going to let you go through this alone. Let's breathe. Even though that's my version, it doesn't have to be his version, but I expect him to have some version of the same thing. Maybe for him, it is literally sitting in silence and observing and breathing. And when they're done, coming to them and saying, good job getting through that. Because we're all going to do things differently, right? But it's the essence of how we're responding and the lesson we're teaching and the story we're telling them and weaving and threading about what is it to have big emotions. Why do we have them? What do we do about it? These things are really important to my heart, and I think a lot of people would benefit from shifting their perspective. And not to say that I do it perfectly every time. Sometimes mama gets frustrated. Sometimes my cup is really damn empty and I don't have in that moment maybe all of the tools or the patience. It's really hard for me. And then two things happen. One of two things happen. Either I go, mama's feeling really frustrated right now. I'm gonna step away and take a deep breath for a minute and come back. I never blame them, ever. I never say, you're making me mad. No, fuck no, they're not making me mad. I control my emotions. Mama's feeling frustrated. I'm gonna take a breath. I'm gonna take a step away. I'll be right back. And I do that to fill my own cup a little bit so that I can come have patience and respond the way that I intentionally want to. Or I do the work in that moment and it's really hard and I freaking breathe through it and I feel my emotions come up. I feel the anger, I feel the rage, I feel the frustration, I feel but I breathe through it. Oh my God, it's so hard. It is so hard. But my child sees that. And you know what? Me doing that shifts the energy. It's really quite amazing. It is such a quantum leap. It shifts the energy and it like alchemizes and neutralizes all of that. And they start, and mama starts creating that energy. Even when I feel like I have no resources, no tools, because the truth is, even when you feel that way, there's always a choice. You always have a choice. You can choose to respond to your negative emotions and like let them out like a crazy person and be not good. Or you can choose to sit with it and feel it and alchemize it and let it come up and witness it and say, wow, I'm feeling this right now. You don't let it out to your children. We're adults, right? We can neutralize it and not at the expense of our health. We can learn to breathe through it, and so much healing comes from that. And then your children witness that, and they can say, wow, mama's energy feels great right now. Wow, this turned into this, right? Very stable, steady. And that's amazing when that can happen. And it's all part of this. And it's our job as parents to do better for our children than was done unto us. That is our sacred duty. That is the vow we took when we had children. It's our job to be conscious. It's our job to be intentional. It's our job to be aware and have reflection so that we don't fuck up our kids the way we were fucked up. It's hard. No one said it was going to be easy. The age of convenience has made us very complacent in wanting things to be easy and made us very distracted and not able to sit through the big hard things. But you know what? You literally can't grow without it. So if you want to be a better person, have a good life, whatever, have good children, teach them good things, make them better than you ever were or could be. That's our job. It's not easy. Don't be lazy. People are so lazy. People want things easy. Life isn't easy. It's beautiful and joyous and it can have ease, but you know what? I personally believe we did not come here for all the grace and beauty and joy and ease. No, no, no. We came here to learn our dang lessons, to experience the darkness, to experience the discomfort, to experience the bad things so that we can appreciate the good things. We live in this duality, right? Everything comes back to this for me. This divine duality, this sacred dance. The divine spirit, God, the universe, source is light, pure, good, pretty much all the time. So we came here to experience the divine opposite, to appreciate it, to grow, to ascend to whatever awaits us on the other side of this life. That's my belief. And so with that comes our children, training our children, guiding them, not training, guiding our children, guiding ourselves. Oh my goodness, we have so much to learn, so much to witness, so much to change and shift, and that's what we're called to do here. So I hope this touched someone's heart, their soul. That's it. That's what I'm channeling. That's the message that I wanted to get out today. It felt very relevant. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to your children. It's okay to feel discomfort. It's good for us. Dive into it. Breathe into it. Breathe it in. Feel it. Oh my God, when I feel angry, I'm human. I feel every emotion. When I feel angry and I can sit and breathe and like feel the essence of anger in my bones, in my soul, the quality that it has moving through my breath and the way it makes me sweat and where does it go? Oh my gosh, and witnessing that, as soon as I witness it, without judgment, I just witness, what is it doing in my body? Where is it going? And I see all the thoughts that come with it. And then I breathe through it. Oh my gosh. And then it goes and it dissipates. And then I feel so good because I just went through that and now it's gone. Wow. And that's what we need to teach our children. Blessings to you. There's a few things I want to add to this chat. And the first is this idea of allowing your children to express and feel and flow and experience their emotions in a safe space, in a safe way, with someone alongside them. And I find this caveat very important because it brings up things like the cried out method, which I personally believe is evil. I know that's a really strong word to choose. However, I think it's really cruel and I think it's really cold to basically put your baby alone and let them scream themselves into exhaustion and claim that it's them learning how to self-regulate. Because in my mind, in my heart, in my intuition, and I know there are some studies that back this up, the baby is learning two things by this. They are learning that you don't care about their emotions, that no one's coming for them. And so they stop screaming because they feel like no one hears them, no one sees them, no one cares to. It's not self-regulation, it is basically defeat. And they're also learning that they shouldn't express their emotions because it doesn't matter if they do anyways. No one's coming. And to me, that is not a lesson I want to teach my children. I don't want to teach them that I don't love them, that I don't care if they're having a big emotion, that I'm just going to lock them in a room and they have to figure it out. That doesn't make sense to me. Humans learn from one another, and babies literally cry to communicate because they don't have words, and same with, older children. So to lock them away and think that they're self-regulating just doesn't even make any sense to me. What makes sense to me is showing them what regulation looks like, co-regulating. There's a difference between holding your child or sitting with your child and being with them through their big emotions and supporting them and showing them, I love you no matter what. No matter your emotions, I am here for you. It doesn't change anything. I love you through big emotions, through small ones, and through none at all. Through the bad ones, through the good ones. Not a conditional love that's predicated on how you're making me feel or how you feel. It's a very different approach, and one that I wish people thought about more. And it breaks my heart when I, experience or hear or even just think about little babies who all they know how to do is cry to communicate, being locked in a room away from their parents, all they know, and crying themselves into exhaustion, or stopping because they're so beat down and defeated that they know no one's coming. They literally are living this story, this experience. No one's coming. No one cares. Imagine the trauma and the sickness that can create inside the human body to keep all those emotions trapped. What story does that baby then grow up with as they unfold in their life? They learn that in order to be loved, you must be obedient. You must not express yourself. You must not communicate. You must not speak your truth. You must not feel the emotions you feel. And so what an internal battle that becomes, to be presented with these emotions, these gifts, these teachers, and then to feel shame, to feel like no one's going to love me if I express this. And the kind of emotional trauma and sickness that can create in the body. So I wanted to put that in here because I think it's really relevant. And if you didn't get it already, I did not do cry it out with my children. I never would. I instead hold them through their pains, through their misery. That's my job. Doesn't really matter how I feel. I feel the way I feel, and it has nothing to do with anyone else. It's my emotions to feel. It's not anyone else's fault. But it's mine to deal with. And it's not fair to put my own BS in front of my child and to let my own shit get in the way of nurturing these little ones. We only have them little for so long, really so short. And in those short years, we have so many opportunities to teach them these things and to show them before they go out into the world and interact with other people and deal with themselves as their consciousness, kind of downloads. So that was the first thing I wanted to add in here. And the next piece I wanted to talk about is just something that I like to say after we've gone through this whole process of, experiencing a big emotion together. I try not to do a lot of praising because I want whatever my children feel to be intrinsic and not extrinsic. For example, my son, might do something that I like or that I think is really cool. And instead of saying, good job, buddy, you did so good, I'm so proud of you, I will say something like, in this example, right, getting through a hard emotion, I'll say something like, wow, you just got through that big emotion. That was probably so hard. And you know what you learned, babe? You can do hard things. Look at you. You just did a hard thing. How do you feel? And I ask this question a lot. How do you feel? Does your heart feel good? Does your body feel good? Does your mind feel good? To create like a self-assessment and a self-reflection so that they don't have to rely on someone else telling them what's good and what's bad and what's worthy and what's unworthy, right? Like they will learn these things because truth is truth at the end of the day. And I think that no matter how you come to the conclusion, there are only so many conclusions to be made and to come to. So those were two pieces I just wanted to add on to this. And I love the phrase telling my son, both my sons, you can do hard things. It comes up so much. Children have a lot of frustration because it's hard to learn how to be human, and it's hard, even when you know how to be a human, it's hard to be a human. It's hard to exist. It's not easy, and that's okay. We can do hard things. And so by telling my children this, I also practice it myself. I'm also reminding myself, like, all of these practices, parent my inner child, whatever you want to call it, but also help me kind of integrate my darkness, my shadow side, the things that don't feel good. I don't run away from my emotions the way I used to. I don't get scared, and I don't judge, and I don't shame the way I used to toward myself, because I'm practicing every single day consciously with my children not to do that to their emotions. So in turn, it happens to me, right? Like, it's this give and take. It's this reflection, this mirror, this like another sacred dance that I find myself in. So those are just some pieces I wanted to add. I felt like they were very relevant, and see you next time.